Now, I've got wonderful memories of being a Cub Scout. First dozen Cub Scouts in Urswick, and it was a wonderful time in my life, actually. A really great thing to do. Now, moving on to the Scouts wasn't that easy for us in that part of the country, but the Scouts themselves are launching a major recruitment drive. They're looking not only for new members, but also new volunteers. Membership has fallen quite significantly during the pandemic. Let's talk to the Chief Executive of the Scouts, Matt Hyde, and Deputy UK Chief Commissioner Kester Sharpe, who join us now. Really good to see you both this morning. Look, Matt, why have numbers fallen so badly, do you think?
Well, I mean, everyone's been affected by the pandemic, haven't they? And young people in particular. So after 14 consecutive years of membership growth, last year saw 100,000 fewer young people able to take part in Scouts because of the pandemic, and many of those losses were in communities that were most affected by the pandemic. Some of those in particular that had the deepest lockdowns. And as I say, it's another example of how young lives have been affected badly over the last year. Now, the good news is those young people are coming back in droves, which is fantastic to see. There's a lot of hikes going on. There's a lot of marshmallows being toasted. But we need the leaders, because we've also lost 15,000 adult volunteers in the last year. And that's why we are launching this campaign today. It's called Good For You, to say that volunteering is good for communities, it's good for young people, but it's good for you as an individual as well.
Yeah, so Kester, what's in it, do you think, for volunteers, and what sort of people do you need to get on board?
Well, as Matt's just said, it's good for you, and that means anybody. We have roles in Scouting for so many different people. It's not just roles working with young people, although that's clearly a really big part of what we do. But we look for other people as well, the people who make the tea, who drive the minibuses, who help keep the group headquarters going and do a little bit of DIY every now and again. But Scouting offers a vast amount for both young people and adults. We have an amazing training programme for our adults that provide them with skills that can actually help not just with Scouts, but with their personal lives as well and their careers.
Yeah, forgive me, how long, Kester, does it take to train up there? I know you've got to do the various checks on people's safety and all that for the safety of the children involved, obviously. But then how long does the training programme take?
It's really, really flexible, and a lot of it is online now as well. So it's in short modules of a few hours here or there. So it can be done just in a few months, up to a year or so, to fit around people's commitments. And also, we place great store in actually recognising what skills people bring to us as well. So a sort of accreditation of prior learning, if you like. We look at what people have previously done in their lives and how they can apply that within Scouts.
Yeah, and the key part to all of this, Matt, has got to be, as much as they will get stuff out of this themselves, it's the impact they can have on young lives as well. I mean, I wasn't a Scout, I was a Cub Scout, but even so, the memories that I have from that, and it's just, I mean, it's like nothing else. It's like nothing else on the planet where you go out and meet up and get outdoors and do all these fantastic activities.
That's right. It's about fun, friendship, and learning those skills that you'll use for the rest of your life. And I think, actually, when people have been cooped up over the last year, this is a great moment to experience those things we haven't been able to experience, which is to meet with people, have fun, be outdoors, which I think lots of us have experienced how powerful being outdoors in nature is for our mental health and our well-being. And I think what our message is that it's, as Kester was saying, it's good for young people. But you know what you learn as an adult volunteer is also that it's good for your skills and it's good for your well-being and it's good for your belonging. And there's research from the National Council of Voluntary Organisations that says that volunteers say 77% of those volunteers say it's good for their health and their well-being. And I don't think we talk about that enough in terms of volunteering. There's obviously the benefits you give to your community, but actually as an individual, the difference volunteering can make is a real health benefit. And we talk about exercise and what you eat and what you drink. Actually, we should be talking about how volunteering is so good for your health as well.
Yeah, and you know, I've got to say, the idea, Kester, that as a volunteer, you may be, I don't know, you may be in your early 20s, you may be in your early 70s, I guess. I mean, that whole mix of people that can get involved, and the idea that volunteers can learn from each other with such a wide scope of people, it quite actually really appeals to me.
Oh, absolutely. And we'd welcome you, Stephen. We really would, if you want to return to scouting as an adult. You're right. We take people from the age of 18 up to 80. And scouting has something for everybody. As Matt said, fun, friendship. You know, many people mentioned, didn't they, that during the pandemic, they felt isolated. Well, about 70% of scout leaders say that scouting makes them feel less isolated and more connected with people, because you get to mix with people that you wouldn't otherwise have met or have anything to do with. And at the same time, you know that you're providing young people who are another group who've been hugely affected by COVID to actually develop and become bold, brave individuals to enter this post-COVID world that we see ourselves facing.
Yeah, and also, I mean, I tell you what I really like about the whole scouting movement is the fact that you contribute back to society. Like you're a force for good in local communities, aren't you?
We are, yes. And during the pandemic, we actually saw that happening. We saw 100,000 acts of kindness from scouts towards residents of care homes, for example. We saw scouts in the south of England making visors for key workers. We saw scouts in Oxfordshire helping deliver prescriptions to those who were shielding. And that was all at a time when we actually couldn't meet face to face. During the pandemic as well, scout leaders kept the show on the road. Yeah. Every day there were over 1,000 online meetings held.
It sounds brilliant. It makes me long for my neckerchief back. I've got to tell you, Matt. It really does. It really does.
Now's the time, Stephen. Now's the time to join as a leader. Yeah. And would you be very welcome, as Kester said.
I'm very, very tempted, I have to say. It's really good to talk to you both this morning. Thanks very much indeed.
Thank you very much.
What a great time. Text me back. Now,